Hey, it's Ed Burns. Check out Public Morals, my new show about New York City cops in the 1960s and the vices they managed. Tuesday, August 25th at 10/9 Central, only on TNT.
We're coming to you from the DraftKings.com podcasting studios. DraftKings.com, America's one-day fantasy sports site, where it's like a new season every time you play. DraftKings.com.
Now, the right time with Bomani Jones on ESPN Radio.
And ESPNRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the right time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send me a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. And more fake football tonight, baby. Are y'all happy? You're so thirsty for some football that you'll put up with that. Like, I feel like it's somebody saying, you know, I really would like a great ham. Pass that can over here right fast. That's what we have here, Shannon. I think you would agree with me on this one. This is just
not the same.
It's just not the same. Like it's not what you want, but you guys do want football, and it's close enough. Therefore, you have got it. Speaking of not being what you wanted, Marcus Mariota's beginning as an NFL quarterback in the preseason. Shannon, I believe the word is inauspicious.
A little shaky.
By the way, you ever heard anything described as being auspicious?
No
one ever says auspicious. I just looked it up to make sure it was a word. It means conducive to success, favorable.
I'm gonna write that down. Hold on.
I think it's worth having. Like, I think we should start breaking out auspicious because we always focused on the negative. Anyway, speaking of being focused on the negative, your man Marcus Mariota had that inauspicious debut. Shady, he threw an awful interception on a screen. Where he dropped back, it was the screen, and it was almost like, whoa, they get here faster on the screens in the NFL. And he threw that thing away, and it went right the other way.
Wait a minute. Mariota threw an interception?
Well, that begs a very interesting question now, does it? Does the practice streak still count? And I asked Lindsey Jones. She covers the Titans. I don't know the outlet. She covers them close enough. I asked him if the interception streak still mattered, and her reply was, after looking at the Titans' defense against the Falcons' first-team offense, no. It does not. It does not. But
USA Today for Lindsey.
The USA Today. There we go. But glass half full on that one for Mariota and the Titans. Here is his line. He finished at 7 for 8 for 94 yards. I mean, that's pretty good when you think about it. He completed a 30-yard pass. He completed a 32-yard pass. He completed a 26-yard pass. He got the ball down the field. He just had the interception, and he just, gave the ball up. But let me tell you something now about Marcus Mariota, and this is going to be the case all year long. You know what his nickname is going to be in the NFL media? Glass half full. They are going to be calling him Glass half full all year long because people are going to be so optimistic about him. Now, to be fair, having a bad showing in this preseason game. See, here's the thing about preseason that becomes a dilemma. I don't even know if dilemma is the right word, but I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. If the preseason games don't matter, then the preseason games don't matter. Like, if Mariota had come out and played really well, I would say that the preseason games don't matter. So if he plays poorly, I have to also say that the preseason games don't matter. Like, it's the only way to be fair. Either they matter or they don't. That's it. So whatever happens to him in this preseason, I'm really not holding it against him when the regular season starts because whatever he does in the first regular season game is going to completely erase what happened in the preseason. That being said, this year, he is going to be the guy that's not the guy, and it's very helpful. And what I mean by that is he's the guy who is not Jameis Winston. Shannon, while they're talking about Mariota not throwing these interceptions, have you been reading the things the guys are saying about Winston in Tampa's camp?
A little bit.
I mean, it's things we know, right? Like,
right.
I mean, that he knows football. He is absolutely a student of football. You hear those guys say that. One guy, I think it was Evan Dietrich Smith, he said, and he played with Aaron Rodgers, and he said he reminds him of a young Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to hear people bring that quote up very much because Jameis Winston is going to be glass half empty. Like, that's just the way this season is going to go. Unless Jameis comes out there super balling, he's going to be glass half empty. And Mariota is going to be glass half full. Now, to be fair, let me give you full disclosure. I think Jameis is going to be very good. I have a lot of questions about Mariota. The reason I have questions about Mariota is the people I trust who know more about these things are so down on him, or they were so down on him when he came out. Like, they could not understand all the hype that surrounded him. Like, it was a no-brainer. Like, I watched that Rose Bowl with Mariota and Winston going against each other. And, yeah, Oregon won. But I didn't see how anybody could watch that game and be scouting for the NFL and think that Mariota was the guy that you wanted over Winston.
To me, he struggles at throwing the ball in tight windows. And then also when you're in the red zone and you don't have much yardage there to work with, he struggles there as well. Yeah.
I mean, and look, Winston's thing that we're going to have to see in the league. Last season, man, he was out there. I think Doug Farrar of SI.com says that the comparable was Jay Cutler because he was out there just trying to wing it. Like, he was absolutely trying to make all these things happen on that team. When he didn't have Kelvin Benjamin as the guy who was always open, things were different. Like, they were. He could still do incredible things, though. Like, there are throws you see Winston make. You're just like, oh, my goodness.
He does a really great job of anticipating where the receivers are because he knows where they're supposed to be.
He does. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes in the pros because apparently he had a level of knowledge of how the offense was supposed to go, and Fisher put so much on him relative to other college quarterbacks that it's going to be interesting to see how this winds up going in the league. But I will caution about Mariota before you bury him on the basis of a preseason game. Like I said, I didn't think he was going to be very good, but I'm certainly willing to reevaluate that. Like, I'm not riding that out. I understand that when it comes to this evaluation process, for the people who get paid for it, they just guess it. So what you think I'm doing? Seriously, the guys that make money for picking guys coming out of the draft barely know what the hell they're doing. So I'm not about to sit here and act like I'm such an expert on it, except when I'm right. When I am right, I'm just here to let you know. Like when I'm wrong, I be quiet. But when I'm right, I be talking again. Believe that. But I can entertain the possibility that I'm wrong. Like, I just want to make sure you understand that. So I'm not going to, carry that and ride that out when it comes to Mariota. So I say that to say it's a comparison to a different sport. But, Shannon, do you remember Yao Ming's first game with the Rockets?
Is that the Shaq game?
He scored – no, the Shaq game where he blocked Shaq shot 3 times?
Yeah.
No, that was the first time he played Shaq. And then Shaq just commenced to dunk on him, as often as he could. His first game, he scored 0 points. None. And the whole thing was he was this grand experiment from China, right? Like, we just all our First of all, he is a 7'5" Chinese man. All our stereotypes, just out the window. We didn't know what to do. We're like, let me get this straight. He Chinese, he played basketball, and he's 7'5". What? Right? So he came out there and he scored 0 points in the first game. Like Tony Kornheiser called him a stick figure until he got into the league. He kept saying, 0 points, 0 points. He turned out to be pretty good. Like, the first game is just the first game. And Mariota looked like he was just surprised by the speed. Like, from what I can tell from seeing, where he threw the interception and losing the ball, here's the thing about the NFL that's different from college. And guys say this about high school, going to college after they've left high school. They're like, everybody's fast. That's what Winston said, was that, no, these college linebackers can't play the pass. All these dudes are fast. That's what happens when you get to that professional level. Everybody's good. They might not be good in the league, but the last man on the bench in the NBA, he'd make a fool of the best player on your high school team. Everybody's good. And that's something that's going to take some time for Mariota to adjust to. The question is, how good is he when everybody is good? And that's the hardest thing to forecast about players when they're young, is when everybody else turns out to be good, how can you respond? And for a number of reasons, that's really difficult to tell.
Bomani
Welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Shannon, I got two things here for you.
What's up?
See, if we was off the air, I would have caught you right there.
Yeah.
I would have caught you right there. I don't think I can get away with that on the air here. But you know, when them two things are looking for you, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be a little wary before you get caught. You know.
Shout out to Marvin who got caught off air.
He sure did. Go to the bank at Beaufort. You know. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Now, fake football season, which is the preseason, is the time for people to get irrationally excited about a bunch of things. Next segment, we are going to talk to Kevin Blackistone of the Washington Post about, ours fans getting irrationally excited by Kirk Cousins again.
Fool me once.
Again.
Fool me twice.
Yeah. 3 more. That's glass half full right there. Like, we'll talk more about this later, but we talked about Mariota's going to be glass half full. Nobody's glass half full like Kirk Cousins. Like, come on, man.
His cup runneth over.
We see what this dude about, right? Now, with Griffin, I think there are questions about what that dude's about. But with Cousins, we know what that dude's about. But anyway, fake football season is when people get themselves excited about things they see in small samples. And in Buffalo, they got this problem, okay? They drafted a quarterback in Buffalo 2 years ago. In the first round. That gentleman is currently third string. E.J. Manuel is now third string. And in fairness to E.J. Manuel, if you didn't want E.J. Manuel to be your third string quarterback, I don't understand why you drafted him. Like, if you watched him play in college, that right there he had everything you need to be a backup quarterback. You know, the most important thing you need to have if you're going to be a backup quarterback, a great personality. People need to be able to hang out with you.
It's a positive guy.
Yeah, you got to, helping the quarterback watch film. You know what I mean? Pitching in. Like, that's what the backup quarterback's job is. We need you to pitch in.
The leader of the high fives when they're coming off the field.
Yeah, like, you get the freshest baseball caps. You know what I mean? Like, look, man, and we expect this one to be a big seller. You're tall. You can wear it, right? So, EJ's not going to be the starter. Their starter currently is Matt Castle. Who is Matt Castle? Like, it's there. Although Matt Castle wants to, think about this for a second. These are the 2011 Kansas City Chiefs, I believe. The 2011 Kansas City Chiefs. No, not 2011, it's 2010. The 2010 Kansas City Chiefs. They finished 10-6, okay? They went to the playoffs. Matt Castle was the quarterback. Romeo Crennel was the defensive coordinator. Charlie Weiss was the offensive coordinator. Todd Haley was the head coach. Shannon, who in the world is supposed to get credit for that playoff team?
Yes.
Because we ain't giving credit to none of them. None of them. Like, who's supposed to get the credit? That's 4 guys that no one ever wants to give any credit to, and they made it to the playoffs. But Matt Castle at quarterback. And Matt Castle had 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions that year. He did. Shannon, would you want Matt Castle quarterback in your team under any circumstance?
Not as a starter.
Nah, man. But
he's tall enough to be a backup.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll look good on TV.
He's 6'5". He's got the look. He's already 33 years old, by the way. Did you know that?
Wow.
33 years old. But Tyrod Taylor is their backup. Now, before we started doing this show, Shannon, Tyrod, where in the 757 is Tyrod Taylor from?
Hampton, Hampton.
And you are kind of sort of from?
Hampton, Hampton.
So you're not even trying to be objective about it.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
It's fine. It's fine. We all got our guys, plus you the producer. You get to be whoever you want, right? But you know Tyrod's going to wind up being the starter for this team, right?
Eventually, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he started week 1. I would not be surprised. Apparently, he balled today. Apparently, he ran. He threw some passes that worked out okay. And to be honest, my question about Tyrod Taylor has never been about talent. The question in college was about whether or not Frank Beamer and your man Steinspring were going to ruin him, right? But the question of him in the league, and Shannon, you correct me if I'm wrong here, has always been a height question.
Yeah, because he's, 6 foot?
Allegedly.
With cleats on.
Right. But he's so talented. Like, he is so incredibly talented. He's a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. What was he, ACC Player of the Year as a senior? Offensive?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is – okay.
The conundrum that you have with Tyrod, especially in the league, is that you feel as though he relies on his legs too much. But you have a situation where if you can do things that other quarterbacks in the league can't do with your legs, why not do it?
Yes. Well, it's also worth noting they always put him out there in situations where why not run around? Like that. They put him in run around hours. Like, that's what it's going to be. Okay. Like, that's what he does. But here's why I think he's going to wind up starting for that team. Because Matt Castle can't do anything to keep that job. Like, a dude Matt Castle's age with Matt Castle's talent and Matt Castle's skill set, all he can ever do is hold the job down. Maybe not make any mistakes. But then you're going to wind up in a situation where the season goes a little bit longer, and you're like, look, we're not getting anything out of this guy. He's going to have a rough patch. So when you have a rough patch from a guy that can't give you anything high, then what happens? Well, why don't you put Tyrod in and let him be a spark? That's what they call it, right? Let him be a spark. And then he winds up getting a game or two. You know, he gets out there, you know, and there's going to be some running around. Like, to be fair, I can't give you any indication of how well Tyrod can do in the pocket because, like, I haven't really seen Tyrod Taylor play since 2010. Like, I can't give you great answers as to how he can play in the pocket. But I can tell you this. Matt Castle ain't a starting quarterback. And him not being a starting quarterback, if you got 3 dudes on your team who are not starting quarterbacks, why not go with the one that can run around?
Yeah, he gives you the most options there at the position.
Absolutely. I mean, but the big thing is he gives you the most potential of something good happening. Like, the best you're hoping for with Matt Castle is that nothing bad happens. Now, another thing I would observe about Tyrod and why I think he'll get to start at some point in Buffalo in the not-too-distant future, Rex Ryan is a head coach, but Rex Ryan thinks like a defensive coordinator. Like, that's his mentality. And remember, what did he say when they got Tebow about that Wildcat? When the Wildcat was out of style and everybody's like, why are you bringing him in to run the Wildcat? And Rex's thing was, as any defensive coordinator, how much time he has to spend installing stuff to deal with the Wildcat. Like, it takes away from time. So Rex thinks about that as a defensive coordinator. He thinks about his offense through the lens of a defensive coordinator. A defensive coordinator does not want to deal with a quarterback that's running around all the time. Like the great Nick Saban, the genius Nick Saban. The common thread in pretty much every quarterback that's beaten Alabama since 2008 has been a quarterback that could run just enough to limit Nick Saban's playbook. Like those defensive guys, what quarterback did Nick Saban take in Miami when he got there? What was the quarterback that he went for? Passed on Drew Brees because of the shoulder? Culpepper. Like, it's not every defensive coach, but Rex's daddy, Buddy Ryan. Who do you associate with him quarterback-wise?
Randall Cunningham.
Who's Pete Carroll got?
Russell Wilson.
Right. So if you can't get like a starting professional-style quarterback, then they get the guy that'll run around. And so Rex is going to look out there and be like, we might as well make their lives difficult. That's the best we can do.
Bomani.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. All guests join us on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline, including our next guest. He is a columnist at the Washington Post, and whenever I post a picture on Facebook or Instagram of me with my brother, they always ask me if he is our next guest. His name is Kevin Blackistone. Kevin, what's going on?
What's happening? I like that little brand Nubian coming in. Grand Poobah, underrated MC of all time.
Yeah, we know what you're about, but I think it's pretty funny because you met my brother a few years ago.
I did.
And so people mixing you two guys up is kind of like, close, but way far.
Oh, okay. Two brothers. I got it.
It's the life, man. Speaking of the life, the preseason has not been kind to the Washington football franchise already. You guys have anybody left to play tight end?
Do you know how to do it? You're pretty tall, kind of rangy. Put on some pads.
I mean, they might try me out.
Might as well. I know Chris Cooley is licking his chops at maybe a second opportunity in the NFL. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, what, the two guys suffer season-ending injuries yesterday at tight end?
Well, they not for sure about the backup to Niles Paul, or the backup to Niles Paul, but possibly. You know, the sad thing is that Jordan Reed, who you really want to be the starter because he really has an athletic package that is special, you know, continues to be hurt. I mean, he's struggling with hamstrings right now and just can't stay on the field. So, to lose Niles Paul and now to have nobody left who you can really count on, who you know much about, is a downer.
Is it too late? Well, I guess I found out recently you can't go sign Fred Davis, attorney at law. Unfortunately, he's not available to play.
Yeah, that sounding kind of went up in smoke, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But we're talking to Kevin Blackistone of the Washington Post. What did you think about Robert Griffin last night? He went 4 for 8. Garcon dropped what would have been a sure 60-yard touchdown. But what did you think about his performance?
You know what? I was amazed by his post-game performance. When he told, I believe it was Clinton Portis, I thought we did a good job moving the ball. Get in, get out, and that's all you can ask for. He still doesn't get the big picture. That's not all you can ask for. He got 2 series. He didn't get the ball in the end zone. I understand Pierre Garcon dropped one that would have been 6. But you know what? Even on that play, he was late with his delivery. He underthrew Garcon. And that's part of the problem. He has lost the dynamism that he had in his rookie year, and he's struggling being a redacted athletic quarterback who now has to rely on his arm, his timing, and his precision, all of which come with question marks.
Well, of course, after Griffin goes out, Kirk Cousins comes in, and as it typically goes, plays fantastically against the backups. And
thank you for saying as it typically goes, because we've seen this preseason movie before. And so now you got people around town going, this is the guy. And I'm thinking, well, this is the guy who you also saw in the regular season when games counted last year, who was absolutely horrific. So right now this is a team which, just like last year, has a huge question mark at the most important position in the NFL, and that's quarterback.
All right, talking to Kevin Blackistone of the Washington Post. And what do you think about the fear that every time Kirk Cousins seems to do anything, it seems as though this city is ready? After all, your paper, before you were there, did a spread on Kirk Cousins after Griffin got hurt as though it was the beginning of the future.
Right, exactly. I just don't know. I mean, it's just the classic case of the backup quarterback being the most popular guy in town. And, Kirk Cousins has had opportunities here. And for a while he has shown well in them, but of late he hasn't. And, I can't put a whole bunch of credence in what he did against second-string guys in Cleveland last night, going 12 for 14 for 154 yards. I mean, that was great, and he got the ball in the end zone, but he was probably throwing to a guy in Ross who probably won't be here at the start of the year, and he was playing against a defense that was pretty porous. The guy that needs to shine is Robert Griffin. Everybody knows that, and last night I just didn't think he instilled any confidence in anybody.
Well, that kind of leads to the next question about Griffin. The relationship with Jay Gruden, of course, is the hot-button topic of this because they've never seemed to be on the same page. It seems like Gruden wasn't on the same page with Griffin to begin with, like he was not even trying to be on that page. How well do you think that Griffin will have to play to keep his job, given who the guys are behind him?
I think he's got to play well enough he's got to play winning football, and that's what he's got to do. Because I think he's on a very short leash with the new coach, with the second-year coach. As you alluded to, Gruden didn't necessarily like what he was inheriting anyway, and certainly after last year winning just 4 games, he can't be too thrilled about that. It's brought his coaching into question, and it makes you wonder about what the future of this franchise looks like, the immediate future. I mean, word is around here that the guy he really likes is Colt McCoy. So, if that's the case, this is going to be a tough road to hoe. I mean, I think that, if Griffin doesn't show well in, let's say, the first 6 games this year, I would think that his tenure as a starting quarterback in Washington is over.
Yeah,
I mean, he's had plenty of time, and it just hasn't worked out. And that fantastic rookie season just seems so far in the rearview mirror now.
Well, I tell you, on another day, we can talk about how Dan Snyder hired the coach who preferred Andy Dalton over Colin Kaepernick to be the guy to coach Robert Griffin. That's for another day. But one thing I think about this Washington team that I think hasn't been discussed enough is they finally got Jim Haslett out of there, who was running a defense that wasn't even the defense that he had made his bones running, and now they got a new defensive coordinator. How's the defense looking compared to last year?
Well, I didn't think the defense looked all that good either. I mean, you had a 36-year-old McCown out there last night against this defense led by Joe Barry, and he looked younger than ever. So I wasn't, I certainly wasn't standing up in my living room watching the game going, woohoo, this is some great defense. I mean, they got struggles too, and as we all know, Joe Barry's resume as a defensive coordinator or as a defensive coach in the NFL is anything but sterling. I mean, it's got more bullet holes in it than you can find on just about anybody's resume. So they've got some real proving to do there as well. I mean, the bottom line is this is a team that won 7 games the last 2 years. It's not very good. Offensively, defensively, special teams, they didn't look real good last night. They got a whole lot of problems. The only problem that they don't have is at running back. Alfred Morris is a real deal. You give him some blocking, and he's going to get it done. But other than that, that's about it until Deshaun Jackson comes back, and now you got problems at tight end. They have some real issues. They're going to need a lot of luck this year in order to be a successful team.
Well, I tell you, I was in D.C. in August of 2001 when the Chiefs beat Marty Schottenheimer's team in the first preseason game 20-0, and I had never seen a city freak out about something that mattered less than you guys freaked out about that preseason game. Are y'all going to be okay? After this one, are y'all going to be straight?
Did you apparently missed the Spurrier debut in Japan? Which everybody took to mean that they were going to win the Super Bowl that year. How did that work out? I mean, that's the way we are in this city. We see a flicker of light from this team, and we think that means that they're going all the way. And I grew up at a time when I can say I saw them go to Super Bowls at a time when they were a perennial powerhouse in the NFL. But from the 90s up until now, or the mid-90s up until now, that just has not been the case. They're closer to being bums in this league than anything else, and it hurts. And what I see right now just doesn't inspire confidence in me that this team is turning the corner. We shall see. This was just one preseason game. Robert Griffin III is going to get more reps, probably a couple of quarters in the next preseason game. But if he can't put the pigskin in the end zone, they got issues, real issues.
Best football team I've ever seen, the 1991 Redskins. Possibly the worst franchise since 1991. Might be them. Kevin Blackistone of the Washington Post. Also catch him on a program called Around the Horn, where you can see me defeat him fairly regularly. My man, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Take it easy.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Now, the right time with Bomani Jones on ESPN Radio.
and ESPNRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. All guests join us on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Thanks so much to Kevin Blackistone for joining us last segment. We got John Manuel of Baseball America joining us next hour. Stick around for that one. Before we get to my next topic, Shannon, you saw something about a celebrity basketball game you think I should attend?
Yeah, it's going down August 28th.
Where?
At Parkdale High School. And it is tell me what's wrong with this. It's the first annual DeMar Johnson celebrity basketball game.
Wow. DeMar Johnson, who a lot of people don't even remember. He used to play basketball for Cincinnati. Wasn't he like a 6'9" two-guard?
Yeah.
His career, he got into a real bad car accident that derailed his career. But tell me about some of these celebrities at the game.
Oh, before we get to that, first annual, huh?
Yeah. Getting it started.
Well, not inaugural. We're just going first annual.
Yes, that's right.
All right, let's see. We got Kenny Satterfield.
Wow, he still counts as a celebrity?
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, he's a celebrity.
Kenya Martin.
Keep going.
Josh Howard.
Okay.
Bobby Mays.
I forgot about him.
All right. I always struggle pronouncing this guy's name. Pops Mensah Bonsu, yes. James White, who can still dunk.
Yes. Allen
Iverson.
Yo, I can't lie. I'm trying to go. Like, after you rattled off the names, I'm with it now. We got, first of all, if Flight White's going to be there, they got to get Mel Levitt, right?
You think so? Absolutely.
They got to get Mel Levitt. All the dudes who can dunk but can't hoop. I mean, if it's going to be a celebrity game.
And this might be the all-headband team, too.
Yes. That is the headband generation. That team, full all the reps for the headband. That's totally them.
Like, everybody in their picture has on a headband except Quinn Cook.
Oh, he's already played in celebrity games? He ain't in the league?
You got to get it how you can get it.
I feel like he should already be too good for this. Like, wait a while before you can come down to this level. Like, I don't know if Quinn Cook is too famous or not famous enough to be included in that company. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Straight Outta Compton is in theaters, Shannon. And I always say, nothing quite brings the people together like the G-Funk.
Right.
The disparate range of people that love the G-Funk, they all come together. The reason for that, by the way, two things everybody loves, bass and misogyny, and 3, violence. Like, those are the common threads. Because it's been very funny reading these people who are trying to, like, talk about NWA, like NWA started a revolution. If NWA started a revolution, then why am I still scared of the police? Like, I don't know if you guys been reading the news, but, like, they opened people's eyes to what was going on. Look up. What, they just been watching? That ain't no damn revolution. You just watching it? How does that count as a revolution? Anyway, people have tried to make so much out of this and, like, the huge social statement out of the NWA. They're a rap group, right? They're a rap group. If they had not done that one song, we're not talking about them in that way. We remembering A B is a B, Gangsta Gangsta, Just Don't Bite It. All of those. Like, that's what it is. And look, I'm not shading them for that, right? I mean, they're certainly not a flawless group, and there's a lot of moral reckoning to do in enjoying their music, but we ain't got to lie about who they are, okay? So I figure, though, it's a big thing. Everybody, all America's been talking about it, all the avatars on Twitter, people straight out of their little sorry hometowns. You know, everybody want to put off of these places I have no desire to go. All right, cool, I'm with that. But I feel like I wanted to find a way to talk about this movie as it's kind of an important thing that's going around, and we could talk about it in a sporting context, because the real star of any movie about NWA is whoever, like, did the Jheri curl wigs.
Absolutely.
I mean, those are some prominent Jheri curls in NWA. Did they all have Jheri curls at the start? Because Dre had a Jheri curl, right? Or did he have a Caesar by then?
He had a Caesar by then, yeah.
He had the shag in the World Class Wrecking Crew.
Exactly.
But he didn't have the Jheri curl. Easy had a curl.
Great curl.
Cube had a curl.
Absolutely.
If I'm not mistaken, Cube held on to his curl longer than AC Green. Did Ren have a curl?
Gotta check that.
Let me tell you something, by the way. Anybody that's of the curl generation, don't let them tell you nothing about the clothes you wear. Right? Don't let them tell you nothing about your little stupid mohawk haircut. I can tell you those things. but they're not allowed to talk any noise to you if they ever had a curl. Like, why would any man want a hairstyle that requires so much maintenance? And I don't mean maintenance of your hair. I mean maintenance of your furniture. Like, it drips. That's bad.
It stains.
Like, what were the collars on your shirt looking like? And this is what I don't know about the Jheri curl, because I associated with young people and, like, people partying and stuff like that. How many cats are trying to go to professional jobs with a Jheri curl? Like, during Black History Month next year, can we find out who it was, the first dude to get fired from the bank because he showed up one day with a Jheri curl? Just shaking it out.
You getting all the money wet?
Yeah, man. You know, how am I supposed to hold on to these dimes?
Who wants damp bills?
Imagine that. You get a roll of quarters, and it's stained. It's popping open in the car.
And they all slippery?
Yeah, like, who wants that? Who wants that? Right? The NWA Jheri curl so legendary. I did an interview with Morris Chestnut once back in the day. And my buddy was like, yo, ask him what it's like to play fight with somebody with a Jheri curl like that, bruh. He had to be slippery. Anyway, that got us to thinking. The Jheri curl. We're running low on time, Shad. I didn't give you time for your whole list, but who you got? Great Jheri curls in sports history.
I got to go with Eric Dickerson.
Yeah, he's the greatest Jheri. Walter Payton, too. Isn't he up there?
Oh, yeah, he has to be.
Because they both got them country Jheri curls. Because Eric Dickerson from Sealy, Texas. I don't know where in Mississippi Walter Payton from.
We got to give a special shout-out to Pedro Martinez.
Oh, yes!
Didn't he have a curl? Didn't his Hall of Fame bust have a curl?
I think so.
He's a pioneer.
Turn that jam up, by the way. So glow. Who else you got?
Let's see. Ricky Henderson. Ricky.
Yes. Ricky.
Tommy Hitman Hearns.
Tommy Hearns. I think it was unfair to allow him to have a Jheri curl in the boxing ring that could easily get in somebody's eyes, but to be fair, it could also get into his own.
I got, going back to baseball, I got Juan Guzman.
Ah, Juan Guzman, yes.
Can't forget about primetime Deion Sanders, draft day Jheri curl.
Mount Rushmore.
And if we go on Mount Rushmore Jheri curls, we got to go with the one and only Michael Cage.
You have to. He won a rebounding title with a Jheri curl. His whole job was to hold on to things. Right? You're supposed to hold on to a leather ball. And you are a ball of activator. And he won it with like 30 rebounds on the last game of the season, too. See, I got to throw something out there on the Jheri curl that gets lost, right? Because, you know, the Jheri curl, as you could tell, was very popular in the Dominican Republic. Our Dominican brothers are big fans of the Jheri curl. And
right.
No team was quite about the Dominican Republic like the Toronto Blue Jays in their blue jersey era. Go look at a picture like the 1987 Toronto Blue Jays. They look like ready for the world. They got Tony Fernandez, George Bell, Jesse Barfield, Devon White, Lloyd Mosby. I don't know if Devon had the Jheri curl, but just Jheri curls abounded on those beautiful light blue jerseys. They probably had to wash those things in the middle of the game. But hold up, I got to read, Shannon.
Bomani.
Welcome back to the right time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send me a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. We're going to talk some like actual sports in just a few, but since Straight Outta Compton came out, well, Shannon, you know what we're talking about. That's right. Oh, yeah. We talking about Jheri curls, baby. Boy, she hit that note hard right there, didn't she?
It was real.
I wish I could have been there when they recorded this jingle in the studio, because somebody was like, 10 more times, damn it, 10 more times. So glow. By the way, you know the thing I love about Coming to America and the Jheri curls is that the Coming to America makes it to where them New York boys can't act like it's just country folks that had Jheri curls. Y'all had them Jheri curls up there, too, all over the place. Y'all had those Jheri curls. But we're talking about some of the great Jheri curled athletes of all time. Shannon, the question was asked, did the curl era get ended for good when Mitch Tyson got Mitch Blood green?
When Tyson got green, ooh. That was a bad look for the curls, I must admit.
Oh, man, this dude just sent me a picture of Otis Nixon with his Jheri curl. And, man, like, his Jheri curl, I mean, if we're going to be real about it, his Jheri curl fits a particular crack-smoking aesthetic that kind of makes me sad.
It's
inside.
unfortunate.
Yeah. I don't like it when it fits that well. If you got any other great Jheri curls, you can go ahead and give us a call, 888-729-3776. We got a suggestion for Cheryl Miller. And if we're going to talk about Cheryl Miller, Shannon, we got to talk about the whole Louisiana Tech Lady Texters basketball team of the 1980s, don't we? The whole team, right?
See, Cheryl was wasn't she USC though?
Yes.
With let's see, she was with Cynthia Cooper was on that team too.
Yeah, she was. I feel like Cheryl Miller's Jheri curl was ahead of his time though. You know, like Straight Outta Compton didn't drop till 88. Cube still had that curl in 90, like death certificates when he cut the curl, right? He still had the curl on America's Most Wanted. Like he didn't cut that curl till sometime in 1991. It's a long time to hold on to a curl. I can't imagine how happy everybody is around you when you cut your Jheri curl off. Let
me ask you this, because I can't remember. I don't feel like Googling it. Did Andre Dawson win his MVP with a Jheri curl?
I believe that he did, and then he made the seamless transition to the only haircut that you can go to after having a Jheri curl, the box. The box. Isn't that the natural transition for most people after the Jheri curl, especially if they're of a certain age? You just go to the box, and then you rock a box for the rest of your life. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Shannon, the best part, Andre Dawson was up in Montreal rocking that Jheri curl. You think they kept Activator on the shelves, or did he have to give it specially sent in? He have to get Jheri curl packages?
He had to probably have somebody fly in and set it up for him.
Imagine you, Andre Dawson, in Montreal, trying to speak French to the person at the counter, trying to ask where the Activator is. I mean, just imagine that for a second. Just think about the difficulty that you would have trying to ask somebody. It's hard enough to find black hair care products in the store as is, right? So you in there and you try to find out where the Activator is. Yeah, in French. Activator. Spray. Like, look at my hair. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Shannon, I'm totally ready for this season of Kobe.
It's going to be outstanding.
I mean, I don't know how many games he's actually going to play, but Kobe says he wants to play in Rio, by the way. He said he would like to play in Rio for 2016 as his farewell, except he told Jerry Colangelo that he wants to earn his way on the team, which is a problem because if he has to earn his way on the team, then they're not going to put him on the team. The real problem is you can't just give Kobe a Lifetime Achievement Award spot because Kobe want to play. Like, Kobe's not – you think Kobe going to be sitting on the bench waving the towel?
Wait a minute. Before we even get to that, though, I could have sworn all the talk going into this past camp that they're doing in Vegas when talking of LeBron is that it was mandatory for all the players that if you want to play in 2016, you have to be in attendance in Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was Kobe there?
Not that I'm aware of.
But I thought it was mandatory.
Well, mandatory is a relative term now, isn't it?
Apparently so.
I mean, it's not, but apparently it is. But, yeah, Kobe, Ramona Shelburne, by the way, Shelburne, who is a great reporter for ESPN.com, she said that she thinks Kobe's going to score 25 points a game this year. And I got to say, that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard. Like, I was like, she's like, he's going to go for 25. I'm like, what, 25 games? Nah, 25 points a game. How many shots is it going to take Kobe to get 25 points a game, Shannon?
He's good for 50.
Well, he'll try, right? And now, by the way, he's in here getting into tiffs, not real tiffs, with the kids, with the rookies. D'Angelo Russell sent a tweet that said, honestly, Tracy McGrady might have been the GOAT. Kobe, apparently, found out about that and sent a tweet with an emoji of somebody sleeping. Yes.
Yeah.
He can't let anything slide, can he? So then D'Angelo Russell replies, my bad, he was nice though. And Kobe then retweeted that and said, all love, little bro. Let's shock the world this season. Kobe. Kobe, man. This season's going to be so funny. Like, I want him to play as many games as possible. Whatever we have to do to get Kobe on the court, let's do it. If it requires performance-enhancing drugs, then let's get these performance-enhancing drugs. Because if they're going to put the Lakers on national television 19 times, we need Kobe. Because how else is that going to be interesting? Like, I like D'Angelo Russell. I think he's going to be a star. Like, in every way you mean star, I think he's going to be a star. But I ain't trying to watch him play with those scrubs.
I did find it interesting how Russell tweeted this out. If not yesterday, it was the day before. I know he didn't tweet it out today.
Right.
And Kobe responds to it, and he backpedals right away.
But my thing is this, Kobe, why you have to do that? Like, he's not saying that he was the greatest. He's just saying he might have been the greatest. He's just trying to show some love to Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady isn't even in the league anymore. Kobe couldn't let it slide.
Nope.
Kobe just couldn't let it slide. Speaking of letting things slide, as we discuss our great Jheri curls in sports history, and you can call with yours, 888-729-3776. AC Green, Shannon, another rebounder known for the curl.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, he held on to that curl for a long time, too. Like, he was the gold standard for the curl. I feel like that curl was actually the real explanation for something that was written off as a matter of principle. But we can talk about that on another day. Shout out to Russell Wilson. 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Harper in Syracuse. Harper, thanks for calling the right time.
Thank you. I love the show, Bomani. In the world of wrestling, you got to give a shout-out to Coco Beware. And I want to say Clayton and or Duper, back in the day with Dan Marino, had curls.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much any athlete from the state of Florida into the 90s had a curl.
You know, it's very interesting, and I appreciate the call, that Florida went from, like, the curl to the dreads with no stop in between. Like, that's a great stylistic shift.
It was a seamless transition.
Yes, and by the way, on the Kobe thing, somebody just made a great point. Don't forget that D'Angelo Russell did that impression of Kobe with all the pump fakes. Like, I don't think D'Angelo Russell fully understands how this Kobe thing works.
Kobe system.
888-729-3776. Let's talk to Alice in Indiana. Alice, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, love the show, Bomani.
Thank you.
Have to say shout out to Marcus Dupree on the Jheri curl. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, because he's a super-duper country dude. Those boys from Mississippi, and I appreciate the call. Shannon, we got any old pictures of Jerry Rice with a Jheri curl anywhere? They got to exist, right?
It has to.
They got to exist. That's what I need to find. Find me some SWAC yearbooks, the Southwestern Athletic Conference. Let me see Alcorn State, class of 88. Let me see what that's looking like. Is there what's the black college in Memphis? I bet the curl was everywhere there because they ain't let go of that curl for a long time in Memphis. They went from the curl to the wave nouveau like it ain't the same damn thing.
Bomani.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance to celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, or even just because. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN for special deals on flowers and gifts starting at $29.99. We are talking about Jheri curls throughout sports and also talking about like current sports stuff. Shannon, I was unfamiliar with Pokey Reddick.
Yeah.
Pokey Reddick was a goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets. And Pokey Reddick had an impressive curl to the point where I have a hard time believing that this is actually his hair. Like, it looked like he got a Terrence Trent D'Arby and then put the activator in it.
He got the thing hanging over his forehead, too, like the bang almost.
Yeah. What? Where was he going in Winnipeg to get his activator? Seriously, who was doing his curl for him in Winnipeg?
Pokey was flying him in before it became fashionable.
Yeah, check what the nearest American city is to Winnipeg, somebody. Then we'll find out where Pokey was going. But that's what, Minneapolis? Well, I mean, Prince and them, like, they weren't too far off from the Jheri curl. I would like to tell one funny story about the Winnipeg Jets that's related to this inability to find hair products for your Jheri curl. As many of you know, the Winnipeg Jets, the current incarnation of the Winnipeg Jets, because the old Winnipeg Jets are the Arizona Coyotes, and the new incarnation of the Winnipeg Jets used to be the Atlanta Thrashers. So the year before the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg, they sent out this press release talking about the new players that they had on the Thrashers. And it was a bunch of black dudes. Like, they had like 5 black dudes or something like that were on the Thrashers that year. You know, it's Atlanta, all them black people. They trying to get some people to come to the games. So they basically sent a press release that was like, yo, we got all these black people. Don't y'all want to come watch these black people? Lil Jon be coming to watch these black people. Don't y'all want to watch these black people? And all the black people was like, no, we don't, actually. just so you know. Anyway, those black dudes who had been in Atlanta, right? Shannon, imagine what it was like when they were then told that they would be moving to Winnipeg. Like, is there a bigger move that they could have been asked to make?
What?
Like, we're going back. Like, for all I know, these cats ain't never lived anywhere that had that many black people in their lives. They're probably down there in Atlanta like people feel when they go to Jerusalem or something like that, right? Like the Holy Land. Like, man, I just had no idea what it was like to be around my people. Everything else. Now you going right back to Winnipeg. It's cold as hell in Winnipeg. I bet they was bummed out. 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Let's hit the phone. Somebody talk about one good Jheri curl. Let's go to Dre in Alabama. Dre, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, how's it going, man? Love the show, by the way.
Appreciate it.
But talking about, you can't even have a conversation of Jheri curls in sports without saying Deion Sanders' name. Because he might have done it best with a combination of the gold chain and the Jheri curl. That's just my greatest of all time in sports. He just did it the best with the whole swag.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're right. Appreciate the call. Because the thing, Shannon, is that Deion took the aesthetic all the way across. Like, he didn't stop halfway.
It was part of the brand.
Right. He took it all the way. Although I would argue former Memphis State basketball star Keith Lee, whom we had a caller in Raleigh who told us he used to see Keith Lee in Memphis at the dog track wearing a pink fur. That's taking the Jheri curl all the way. I said wearing a pink fur. All right. Moving on. I just want to ask the people this in your own little hometowns where they got football teams or anything else. Does the backup quarterback in your hometown have a regular recurrent spot on the radio? Shannon, do you have any idea if Derek Anderson does a recurrent spot on the radio in Charlotte?
I don't believe so, no.
Because Kirk Cousins has a recurring radio spot in Washington.
Isn't that usually reserved for the starter?
Well, what's interesting about that to me in that city is their starter is a guy who had been chastised at many points for being too concerned about things that weren't football and too concerned with being in the media. Remember that?
I do.
And now Kirk Cousins has a radio show, has a regular spot on the radio show. And I talked to one of the guys that hosts the show. His name is Grant Paulson. I talked to him today because everybody's advocating for opening this quarterback competition in Washington. And I'm like, no. You sink or swim with Griffin. This is it. It's not a matter of whether or not Griffin's good. It's a matter of he's the only guy on that roster who has the potential to turn into a starting quarterback. You don't have a starting quarterback right now. If you have to start Kirk Cousins, you're going to lose. So you might as well try to get something out of Griffin while you have the chance to do it. But I am amazed by this. Every time Kirk Cousins has a good preseason game, the people in Washington get so charged up about, hey, maybe he could be our starting quarterback. Like you've never seen him play. We've seen this exact thing happen before. Why do you keep letting yourself get fooled? I don't understand it. Here's how it goes, folks. Your backup quarterbacks are Colt McCoy and Kirk Cousins. That means your starting quarterback is whoever else you got. It just so happens to be Robert Griffin. But if you got Cousins and you got Colt McCoy, your starting quarterback is the other guy. If Kirk Cousins and Colt McCoy are hanging out at Potbelly having a sandwich, the next person that walks in, he's the starting quarterback before they are. It doesn't matter how much people dislike Robert Griffin. This is just the reality of the situation. He's the only one that has a chance to be a starting quarterback in this league. And look, it might not happen. It might happen somewhere else. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to happen for him in Washington. But I'm telling you, if you see Kirk Cousins and you're like, that's the guy that needs to be our starter, like, what more do you need? How hard are people going to keep wishing for Kirk Cousins before they realize he isn't it? Robert Griffin got hurt last year, had a dislocated ankle, right? Kirk Cousins comes and plays. That Sunday, the Washington Post did this huge spread like he had just come back from he was flying with Lindbergh. Like the huge thing about now's his time and everything else, and he stunk. He came out there and he stunk. So then you got radio stations in D.C. that get Mike Shanahan on. And Mike Shanahan, Kirk Cousins is going to be a starting quarterback in this league. Kirk Cousins is going to be a starting quarterback in this league. Not on purpose. Like, it might work out that way if somebody else gets hurt. But he's just not the guy. But people keep wishing over and over and over again that he will be, and I'm trying to figure out why. Look, Griffin isn't the only quarterback in the league that one could turn disappointing or one could even turn bad if that's what you want to do. He's not the only one. He and Geno Smith, however, are the only two in the league that people are this passionate about them being bad. And two guys, ultimately, they ain't really done nothing to anybody. Remember when everybody loved Griffin? Shannon, you remember that? Everybody loved
absolutely.
Robert Griffin. You know why? Because he was not Cam Newton. And the appeal of being not Cam Newton, well, that kind of wore off when Robert Griffin was hobbling around the field and Cam Newton was going to the playoffs. Uh-oh, can't see that anymore. What do we do now? But fine. Keep on rooting for Kirk Cousins if you want. Keep doing it. It ain't in the best interest of your football team. Maybe it's in the best interest of your heart. But you can't rationally make the argument that if you've got two guys who you don't think are starting caliber players, that you should go with the one that has the most obvious ceiling. Like this Griffin thing, if it doesn't work this year, it doesn't work. But you got to give it every chance to work. Jay Gruden is operating on the you got to fit into what I do program, which I think is stupid. I think it's silly, and I don't think any coach who's worth a damn gets into a situation where everybody has to fit into his system, because that shows me you can't really coach. Like, that's what that tells me. You think Don Shula was looking at Dan Marino and was like, we're going to run the same offense we ran with Larry Zonka? You think they did that? You think he had to run the same offense with Bob Greasy? Hell no. He didn't do
Not
that.
at all.
Because that's stupid. You don't do that. But either way it goes, people better figure out a way to make peace with it, because the fight to bench Robert Griffin is going to happen. Jay Gruden's going to keep on with it, and what's going to happen? He's going to go to those other guys, and everybody's going to remember they're sorry. Then what?
And now, for Geico's edition of Stuff Found in Your Car, we go inside your side door pocket.
Hello, yes, the crumpled receipt with gum in it. From your anniversary dinner, you sprang for expensive wine, your server was Beth. That dinner was a couple $100. Money you could get back if you switched to Geico and saved hundreds of dollars on your car insurance. I bet you'd save that receipt. Frame it even. But really, where did I go wrong? Was it the corkage fee?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com today.
Now, the right time with Bomani Jones on ESPN Radio.
And ESPNRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the new ESPN app. All guests join us courtesy of the Subway Fresh Take Hotline, including our next guest, who is coming to us live from Wrigley Field. He is the editor of Baseball America magazine. His name is John Manuel. John, what's going on?
Bro, I'm doing great. Great bum music there. Appreciate that. Taking me back in time a little bit there. But, yeah, All-Star Weekend for high schools this weekend in Chicago. So Bill Ripken's speaking right behind me, and got a bunch of high school All-Americans here this weekend in Chicago. So it should be a good weekend.
Like, I feel like saying Bill Ripken like that like makes us feel kind of old, because we're like, Billy Ripken, of course, and other people are like, there's another Ripken? I was unaware.
Great baseball card, though. Everybody remembers that baseball card.
Yes, we do. And if you get your hands on it, it was worth a good bit of money. We're talking to John Manuel of Baseball America. So tell me, are you ready to party like it's 1992 with the Toronto Blue Jays?
If we can get Juan Guzman's Jheri curl involved, then yes, I am. But I'm starting to flash back to that earlier topic. I did a little prep. But got a tough loss for them tonight, obviously. And the Yankees aren't going to go away because that Yankees offense, I know it's sputtered of late, but their offense is potent, and their bullpen is better than Toronto's, as well as Toronto's pitched lately. But I do think the Blue Jays are for real. I mean, their offense was already the best in Major League Baseball. I think they have all kinds of leadership right now, too, like guys who are accountable. That Jose Reyes was a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a cancer, but a little bit of a malingerer in the clubhouse. You know, he signed a big free agent deal to play in Miami, and he got traded. He didn't want to go to Toronto. Troy Tulowitzki he wanted to get out of Colorado, so he's playing with a little bit more energy, not to mention that he's just a better defensive player and a better offensive player. and Jose Reyes. So I think all the arrows are pointing up there for legitimate reasons, trying to have staying power.
Well, there's also, they had this spectacular run differential, and then they added better players. Like, I can't think of a team that's had a run differential as high as this team had when it was just 500.
Yeah, they were. That's the thing, is they were a better team than they were showing, and the record showed. And the other part of this is, some real job-saving mode by the front office that leads to, it didn't lead to desperation, it led to some boldness. And it's been 23 years. Like you said, it's been 92, 93 since they were a playoff team. And they've seen the Royals end their streak. They saw the Pirates end their streak. This is a much bigger market in Toronto than Pittsburgh or Kansas City. And those fans, certainly they're starved for the hockey team to win a championship. They're definitely starved for the baseball team. And they didn't just have a great trade deadline. They added the best hitter that was traded in Tulo and the best pitcher, arguably, that was traded in David Price. So they didn't do this for a one-game division playoff. They've got to win the division and at least play a full series, maybe two, for this to really pay off, because you can't trade 11 pitchers, minor league pitchers, and not feel that in the long run. And they've traded some talent. They're going to feel it if they don't win it this year.
All right, talking to John Manuel of Baseball America. Now, looking at the Yankees, I feel like if they weren't the Yankees, they would be a bit more of a feel-good story, right? Because this is a team that we did not expect to be this good. This isn't the Yankees' murderer's row of teams that we saw in the course of the last decade. What would make you optimistic about them?
I agree that there would be a little bit more of a feel-good story if one of the feel-good parts of it wasn't the return of A-Rod, but it's hard to make him a feel-good story. And to me, the part that is, again, that makes it hard to overcome them is just how good their bullpen is. Andrew Miller bounced back today. Dylan Betances is unhittable. It's kind of unreal. If they had added Craig Kimbrell, the trade deadline, like they talked about trying to do, that would have been one of the best bullpens of all time with those three guys. Would have made the nasty boys just seem like choir boys instead by comparison. But Miller and Betances, they shorten games. They don't have to get much out of their starting pitching. The real issue I worry about with the Yankees is the health of Tanaka. They still, because of the contract, they're going to run CC Sabathia out there every 5 days, and he's just not very good anymore. So that, to me, is the ultimate issue, is that with the addition of Price, I think Toronto's starting pitching is every bit as good as New York's, and that was a big deficit before that trade.
All right, staying in the same city but switching leagues. Are you more surprised that the Mets are up 4.5 on the Nationals, or that the Nationals are 4.5 behind anybody?
I'm really more surprised on the Nationals. Matt Williams deserves. There's going to be some accountability there. I know they've had injuries, but he really hasn't managed that team very well. He's pretty much a paint-by-numbers manager. He got exposed last year in the postseason when he had Aaron Barrett on the mound for one of their most important innings. He wouldn't use his closer unless it was a quote-unquote save situation instead of a more important part of the game. And that's been a problem all year this year for them. I don't feel like he's really used that roster as well. And it's a deep roster. And Michael Taylor wasn't supposed to be a starter. He's been one of their best players. So I thought they'd get a little bit more energy when they got Anthony Rendon back. They started getting healthy. Ryan Zimmerman started hitting a little bit. It hasn't happened. And, this is the second time in the last 3 years that's been the case for the Nationals. And you do kind of wonder something about the makeup of that clubhouse, why no one has stepped forward to kind of show that accountability this year. And that's an awful lot to put on Anthony Rendon. I think they put a lot of pressure on, when Rendon gets back, that's when we'll take off. And when they didn't take off immediately, I'm just starting to sag a little bit. So that team has been a very big disappointment. It's the second time in 3 years it's happened.
All right, we're talking to John Manuel of Baseball America magazine. And one interesting thing, of course, you're talking about the Mets being 4.5 games ahead of them. The Mets have that spectacular home record. They're awful on the road, and they played 6 more games at home thus far. Is that the sort of thing that you think about as you look at how this race will hold up as to whether or not the road part will even out their record?
A little bit, but also their schedule really is. They have one of the easiest schedules in Major League Baseball down the stretch. And the thing that you have to watch with the Mets, for me, is the pitcher workload. I'm sitting here with a lot of these scouts who are at this workout today, and when you bring up the Mets, all they can talk about is the power arms. And not just that there's 1 or 2 of them, but the stat that I heard the other day was that the Indians had thrown more than 1,900 pitches, 95 miles an hour and over, and the Mets were number 1 with more than 3,500. They're almost lapping the field in 95 and above fastballs. So it's really going to be about managing that pitching staff and maintaining that incredible power arsenal that they have from Harvey to Syndergaard to DeGrom all the way through that rotation. Nobody else can match that. So home or road, that should play in the postseason with that kind of just power arm after power arm. And that is the template every team wishes they had, that kind of starting pitching.
Well, I think a lot of us have to admit that now that the Mets got the bats that they didn't have, but they got Cespedes, they hit better. The only real reason to be skeptical at this point is they're the Mets. I think there's a lot of people that are like, you put them in any other jersey, we're looking at this a different way.
I think you're right. And the Cespedes, it's amazing how often he's already been traded. What is it, his fourth team already? And you feel like he's been here for 3 or 4 years. It's amazing how that did seem to change the perception of that team from laughingstock, even with their pitching, to, now they're legit. And if they get David Wright back and get anything out of David Wright, that offense should be enough with that pitching to hold off the Nationals. But to me, until the Nationals still have more talent, I think, up and down their roster than New York does. Not just offensively, but it's a very talented pitching staff, and Strasburg has come back from his injury throwing well. So I still think it'll be a challenge for the Mets, but I will be interested to see how people react to that also with Terry Collins. That's a guy I think he's finished second place back in the day with the Angels over and over again, with Houston over and over again. Can he finish the deal and lead them over the finish line? That would be the first time I think he's ever finished first in a long managerial career. So there are a lot of different storylines with the Mets besides the humor. But the humor one, maybe Geno Smith has got all that corner with the Jets now, and the Mets are the legit franchise up there.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Terry Collins oversee one of the great chokes of all time when the Angels gave up those 8.5 games and about 20 games at the end of the season?
I believe you're correct, and I wouldn't say that's one of. I think that is statistically, other than 2011, I think that 95 Angels is the all-time choke job.
Oh, yeah, no. 95, he spared. He didn't get there till 97. He spared because it was 97. We're talking to John Manuel of Baseball America. Last question for you. How is it that the Cardinals have 73 wins and they are my last question for you? It seems like this is a really, really, really good baseball team and no one seems to care.
I don't get that either. I think it's just the Cardinals have been so good that we just take it for granted. But how about not having Adam Wainwright all year? How about Matt Adams, their starting first baseman, missed most of the season, and their first base production has been terrible. How about not having Matt Holliday for long stretches this season? They've had injuries just like, if not worse than, the Nationals in a lot of ways. Maybe more impactful players that they've lost. But they're such a machine in terms of their pitching, scouting, player development. Getting Garcia back healthy this year. Michael Wacha has been fantastic. It's amazing how good their pitching's been. And then Carlos Martinez, that guy's one of these prospects where you keep on, so many times people talk about, he's got a reliever delivery. I don't think he can start. He throws too hard. I think he's a reliever. And he was a reliever in the big leagues, but the transition he's made it look so easy going into the rotation, and he is just devastating. So I know that Lance Lynn got hammered the other day, and he didn't pitch very well, but they lead the National League in ERA by a wide margin, and I just think we take them for granted. They're the best organization in baseball, and it'll be interesting to see how the whole ground control, the hacking thing with the Astros goes. They've thrown their scouting director, Chris Correa. They fired him, and kind of right now he looks like he's taking most of the blame for this. If there's anything more to it, it will really sully their image. But that organization is just, they really can't do anything wrong on the field. It's pretty amazing.
I got to tell you, as someone who grew up with that Braves run of those 15 years, you tell me about a team that, in spite of all those injuries, wins all those games. That sounds like a loss in the league championship series to me. That's how we went for the Braves every time. Like, wow, how do we win 108 games? Why are we getting swept by the Yankees? That was the World Series, but still. John Manuel, he's the editor of Baseball America. He called us in from Wrigley Field. My man, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have to do this again.
All right, bud. Thanks a lot, man. It was fun.
Yes, sir.
Bomani.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. Marvin, why are you spoiling all the good vibes and straight out of Compton with the diss record? Man, they try to get it back together again. Thanks for listening to ESPN Radio, the new ESPN app. My name is Bomani Jones. All guests join us on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Thanks to John Manuel of Baseball America for joining us last segment. Thanks to Kevin Blackistone of the Washington Post for joining us the previous hour. And ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. Shannon, I have a sleeper for you on our extended conversation about Jheri curls in sports.
Oh, really?
I have a guy with a Jheri curl of sorts that I bet you hadn't thought about. I'm about to send it to you right now on your phone before I tell the people about it, because I think that people are getting themselves in a situation where they letting, stereotypes in the box they got the world in stop them from appreciating some other guys who had great Jheri curls. Shannon, you get that picture? Doesn't that look like a great Jheri curl? You're going to see. Tell them who it is.
That's a first overall draft pick with a Jheri curl.
Tell them who it is.
That's
Number
Doug
one
Collins.
overall draft pick. Tell them again.
Doug Collins.
Doug Collins used to write. Remember, Doug was coaching Mike. Doug was out there wearing that Jheri curls. He used to call it a Jheri curl. He was looking like one of them Brady Bunch dudes after the show had been successful for a few years. Remember that? They all had haircuts like lames on the Brady Bunch. Next thing you know, they was all out here either with a Jheri curl or with that Art Garfunkel. That perm.
I should have known you was in here. I saw the drippings from the driveway. You know something with that Jheri curl you got on your head, you better not ever do a crime. Police never had no problem finding you. Follow the drip, follow the drip. They've never had no problem finding you.
That's something you ought to consider, by the way. While I mentioned Doug Collins' perm, by the way, is anything more black people do this, white people do this, than the concept of a perm? Seriously. Like, if a black person goes to get a perm, it does the exact opposite of what a white person does when they go to get a perm. Exact opposite. Like, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, think about what you think of when somebody gets a perm. And just know that black dude next to you is thinking about something completely different or vice versa. That's it. That's it.
Laid.
That's right.
It was laid.
Right. The Brady Bunch dudes, they had perms. Verdine, White, Earth, Wind, and Fire, he has a perm. But it ain't the same perm. Speaking of that, like if you go in, because they don't really make a lot of places that, take care of everybody's hair like that. But can you imagine if you went in, asked the barber or stylist for one kind of perm and walked out with the other? And they're like, I thought you said you wanted a perm? 888-729-3776 is the telephone number. Calvin Broadus. That's Snoop. What's his name? Shannon, is it Cordell? Yeah, Cordell Broadus. He was a 4-star recruit. He was highly recruited. He wound up going to UCLA, or wound up committing to going to UCLA to play football, except he didn't actually go to UCLA, Shannon. He hasn't showed up for camp.
Guess he wasn't too high on this football thing, huh?
Yeah, he decided to quit. He decided he didn't want to play football anymore, which I thought was very interesting because I'm like, hey, if that's what makes you happy, good for you. And I'm glad for him, even if he maybe should have made that decision earlier, that he made it before he wound up getting in there and being part of the machine. Like once you get in there and you become part of the machine, there's no telling if you can get out or not.
It's cowbells and everything.
Yeah, no, he decided that this was not what he wanted to do. And good for him about that. I applaud him for that. But let me tell you what I find to be interesting about it. And let's be clear. I don't know him. I don't know his father. All I really know about the two of them is what I saw on that reality television show. Or was it a documentary, however you want to spin it?
Yes.
Shannon, did you see that?
Yeah, I watched it.
What was your impression of, like, him and football and his dad and all of that?
Snoop was really into it. Cordell, not so much.
Not so much. Not so much. And, you got to remember, Snoop runs the football league. You know what I mean? Like, he's become a major player in youth football in Southern California because he runs that football league. And it seemed as though that young man was like, yo, the way that I can spend time with my father is through this football. And even on that show, Snoop was like, I don't see myself as a dad. He's like, I see myself as a friend of sorts. He's like, I think about your dad being the guy that tells you a bunch of stuff you don't want to do or anything else. But you looked at him and it was like, man, their relationship, I don't know much about it, but it doesn't seem that close. But it seems the only thing they have in common is football. But now it appears only one of them actually love football. And, man, let me tell you something that you can't be out here doing for somebody else. Playing football. It just hurts too much. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things a lot of us are willing to put up with in the name of our parents. You know? A lot. Football can't be one of those things. And I wonder when I see this, man, because you remember this. He's still Snoop's son, which means he's still got access to Snoop's cake. Right? how many guys are out there that are just like, yo, I have to play this football?
There's no going back.
I ain't going back. I ain't going back. There's a whole lot of cats out there that just they are playing football because they ain't going back. Wherever back was, whatever the reason was, I ain't going back. So good for him that he was able to do something else. But I think it's very interesting to look at that Snoop is doing the TV show and all this stuff about it and everything. But that show wasn't really about that boy. That show was about Snoop. And remember this, and I don't know exactly how Snoop got into this, but normally adults get into coaching youth sports to coach their kids. It almost seems like Snoop got into it to be a coach. And like it just so happened that his son was around, and then his son went and decided to play football. But youth sports are weird like that, man, where a lot of grown-ups, this is how they get to be that guy. And to be clear about Snoop, Snoop's doing a lot of really good work with a lot of people and helping a lot of folks out through this league. So I don't want to pretend as though his interests are entirely selfish. Like, that wouldn't be fair. But it also seems like he wants to be a football coach. By the way, what's it got to be like for Snoop to be your dad? How you going to tell me anything? You be on TV smoking weed. Like on TV, smoking weed. Getting arrested, smoking weed. What you gonna tell me, Pops? Shannon, right fast. We got any more Jheri curls before we go to commemorate Straight Outta Compton being released? We got any more Jheri curls you can rattle off?
I'm drawing a blank right now. I know there was some that were tweeted to us, but off the top of my head right now.
Both 8-Ball and MJG. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this every weeknight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Michelle Smallman, Marvin Prince, Shannon Penn, thank you. The Freddie Coleman Show is coming up next. Talk to you guys on Monday. Take it easy.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Weeknights from 9 to 11 Eastern or on demand at ESPNradio.com.